this is a moment in time, the launch of EdiMembre. Ryan, Tim, it's great to see you again after a couple months, and Manfred, great to meet you. I'm so excited about this venture that we're now spinning out, but I thought maybe we could start with where did it all begin? And I think, Tim, you're probably the best one to kind of start us on that story and journey.
Sure. Thanks, Laura. And I would say that building the cultured meat program over the last 5+ years has indeed been quite a journey. I think we made really great progress with the science, built strong relationships with the leading industry and academic partners, all while really cultivating our brand. I have a question for you, Laura.
Sure.
All the way back in 2021, I remember traveling together to try cultured meat for the first time. Did you think that we would be all sitting here today launching EdiMembre?
So I remember when I first tried cultured meat, and I was surprised at how good it was, even back then. But no, I didn't. I never thought we would be here today at this point in time. But to be quite honest, it was always my aspiration that we could get here, that we could take the technology that you were building and really externalize it and kind of bring it to the cultured food market. So I'm really excited that we've made it to this point, and we have so much excitement beyond. But I think maybe it starts with the technology a little bit. So Ryan, kind of help us understand, like, what technology do we have, and how did we start there?
Yeah, so this was an internal ideation campaign at Merck in Germany. So I moved out there in 2018, and this concept literally came from a sticky note, a Post-it note. There was some circles drawn together and saying, this could be a concept, this could be a product. And then that sticky note turned into a concept, which turned into a project, which eventually turned into a product. And now this is a whole technology platform based on this edible membrane technology. And the flagship product is Craftridge, which is this edible hollow fiber membrane within a device, which is this edible hollow fiber bioreactor. And this will grow whole cut pieces of meat, cultured meat in this device, and really drive down the CapEx of the industry while improving the product quality and product form.
So Ryan, that's actually a good note on the tech. And I think over the years as a team, part of our job was to really engage with the industry, understand their gaps, their challenges, and their needs, right? So what do you think are the most impactful elements of the EdiMembre core technology platform for the alternative protein industry?
Yeah, I think it's twofold. So one, this industry will need a massive CapEx boost. It has this burden that they'll need a lot of stainless steel, a lot of volume, and this doesn't exist today. This approach of scaling out single-use bioreactors really drives that CapEx burden down for the entire industry. And the second part of it is the product form. So today, the cultured meat industry is just collecting biomass from the bioreactors, and these single cells are then put into some existing formation technologies, maybe meatballs or nuggets or some unstructured form. And this technology will be the first to just harvest a whole cut piece of meat out of the bioreactor.
It's incredible. I mean, what I love about this is it takes kind of this core technology that we have in Merck with the bioreactors, with the membrane technology, but it leverages it for such a societal need to really kind of give alternative-based protein. And you guys were the ones that sort of the pioneers of this technology. But Manfred, I mean, I'm curious from your perspective, as you kind of met the team and understood the technology. I mean, what was the indication that there was something here to take to the market?
I mean, yeah, it was super interesting. It was about half a year ago, a bit more, than when we started this journey together. As you said, it was this clear ambition to bring that to the market, but it was an internal project. And me not coming from the market at all, still know nothing like Ryan and Tim from over this market. But I mean, what I did first was I talked to people in the market, and they said exactly that with this technology, it might be affordable to have cultured meat, be affordable to have cultured, structured meat. And this is a game changer to the industry. You're looking at an industry that went down in investments, where the hype cycle is a bit over, where people get reluctant to invest more. And this is an enabling technology. And this, I think that was amazing. And the other part I liked a lot is there was a prototype. Yeah, so there was not just the sticky note, not just the concept, but you could actually show people something in lab stage. Yes, of course, but you can show it, that it works. Yeah, and it's about scaling that technology, making it better, bringing that to the market, and then it's not only a vision. Yeah, then it's really something that you can talk to. And I mean, like the topping of there were basically two people that could really explain that with passion and showing that to investors, to customers, saying like, yeah, we're actually doing that. And they knew every detail. Like, so you didn't get to the point where you said, we got to reconquer, we got to ask other people. No, everything was there. And with this mix, honestly, it was still a journey to get to the point here, for all of us. But it was easy since there was really something substantial.
So having that prototype and kind of example was really key to conceptualize the idea.
Yeah, absolutely. And also the courage of Merck and the whole endeavor here to get to that point. Saying we don't know how to commercialize it yet, but if you want to get into imagination into people, you got to show them something. It's more than generated 3D images. It's more than a business case. It's more than just, you need something haptic. Yeah, you need to show them something. And we invited everyone, just come there and look at the prototype. I mean, we had 1 or 2 investors. We just sent out cartridges. Yeah, they couldn't do anything with it, but this was proof that this is really existing.
You can really see the technology.
And I mean, this is the first entrepreneurial courage that you need to get to that point to say, okay, I'm proving that I can build it, and now let's work together to scale it.
I need to add a little bit. So we have distributed prototypes to cultured meat companies globally, and we've received only good feedback. So all our voice of customer thus far has been very positive. So it's more than just a prototype. Say, here, look, this is a technology in the hands of people, and we've made it in a kitchen environment where the end users have eaten it already as well. And from a pasta point of view and from a cultured meat point of view, we can tune that structure, tune that mouthfeel, and all the feedback thus far has been very positive. So we're very confident moving forward.
So Ryan, I think you bring up a really, really interesting point. And part of our job over the last 5+ years was to really be intimate with the startups that are actually trying to bring cultured meat and seafood products to the market. So having those relationships, understanding what their needs are, the product types that they're trying to actually make, has informed us to actually iterate upon our prototype, right? So maybe just, for Manny, he mentioned that, the investors are starting to get excited about the space again. What's next for our prototype that you talked about? What's the next level that we're heading for?
Yeah, so I would say the next steps are just developing the technology platform and at a scale that is useful for the industry. So we need to really scale up the spinning speeds of these fibers, these hollow fibers, and this in turn will increase the production rate of the pasta. We need to reinvent equipment. We need to reimagine how membrane is made at scale for this food industry. So our first year will be really focusing on what does the pilot machine look like? What will the pilot process look like? And then aligning the regulatory aspects with this process. Take it from there. And within maybe 2 years, we'll have a 1 kg prototype, device that we can make, and we'll start distributing this to the industry.
That's great. And I think it's been really amazing to be on the inside at Merck for 5 years, having the opportunity to look at these types of early new technologies and then see how far it's come. Right. And I can tell you that, Manny, you were impressed with, how well put together I think our packages. And I think that's a tribute to Merck and, getting to work with, the senior stakeholders like Laura to guide our project over the years. We've basically been behaving just like a startup, but just within the science and technology office, right?
Yeah, and I think was also what you already pointed out. You've been working with the startups in the space, so the cell cultivation companies, they already knew you. Yeah, so and that's also, you were allowed to go out with a new technology, which is not so common for R&D departments, really to partner up with externals, send out the prototypes, as you said. And again, during fundraising mode, this also was very helpful because we obviously also addressed the investors behind those cell cultured meat companies. And they could ask their portfolio companies, hey, do you know those guys? Do you know the technology? And everybody said, as you said, yeah, we've been testing that. That's really cool. If this thing scales, that makes sense. So like also the reflection from the market on the capital side was very, very positive due to the fact that you were allowed to go out and talk to a lot of people, make connections in the earlier phases. Yeah. I think otherwise we wouldn't have been that fast.
Yeah, that's really helpful to know, because I think one of the things we always wanted was to kind of make sure we were connected with the sort of leading startups in this space. But now kind of hearing that also helps from an investor standpoint as we go out on our own, I think is really an important point that for us to take internal. One thing I guess I wanted to ask both of you is we have these programs to create intrapreneurs that sometimes become entrepreneurs. And I think you two have kind of taken, are on that journey. So I'd love to hear, what's been your experience? How is it going so far? First couple months out as EdiMembre. What's your learning?
Sure. Thank you. And I think that for me, career-wise, I've always tried to just follow and work in industries that I'm just very passionate about. I've worked in cell therapy, regenerative medicine, future food technologies, and, building a startup that we can call our own. That really moves the needle and can have impact in changing the way that we produce and consume food. That's just right there with where I want to be personally. So I'm just so excited to be starting this with you guys together, and I can't think of anyone better than Ryan to be starting this with.
Yeah, no, for me, I think the environment within Merck really set the stage for us moving forward. So I guess this is a multifaceted kind of answer. But these cycles for internal projects where you kind of diverge and converge over and over, and you're always presenting to executive members that have been through the ringer many times, and they kind of have this ability to find the weaknesses and beat down the projects very quickly, fail fast type of mentality. And I think that culture kind of built us or put us on the right track for the startup. So we know, or we have been asked the hard questions early, and we continue to be very responsible with our budgets, very responsible with the teams, these milestones, be very clear and articulate about what we're going to deliver and when we're going to deliver. The investors want to see the same stuff as the Merck management always did too. So this is, I think, the environment that Merck allowed us to grow in is the same environment that we'll need to continue to grow in outside of Merck.
It's great. It's great to see this kind of coming to fruition. And I think, Manfred, we're super grateful to have kind of connected with your company and you really helping us kind of get to that external investor and external lens. Maybe share a little bit about your company. How do you do this? How do you kind of take these technologies and make them into new companies?
Yeah, thanks for the question. It might be a very long answer, but I try to keep it short. Obviously, so the thing I'm interested most about, obviously, is the technology and the people behind it, because this is what you sell in early stages, right? So you cannot sell a big business. You can sell a plan of a big business, but not everything. So what we do. 5 years ago, I would have said we're great in building products. I think we're good or maybe even great in building companies and narratives for investors, for customers, but also for the founders. And you mentioned it, that it is entrepreneurship programs and so on. We've seen a lot of them. I can really say that in this case, we got two great, passionate founders for the technology, a great technology. And no matter what obstacle we had throughout the journey of carving it out and finding the right setup, everybody was willing to do that, even within Merck, right? So just as you said, during the times when you developed it, you get the hard questions. That's not wrong. Yeah, so getting hard questions is not wrong. You need to have the sentiment that everybody wants to do it in the end. Yeah, and we had that in this journey, and this is always the hardest part for us when we work together with larger organizations, that you find someone where it's not on their bonus plan, where it's not like their typical plan, yeah. And then the support is maybe there, but not so big. And we didn't have that here, so whatever obstacle we faced, and we had to change the target structure and needed to design and get feedback from the investors and had to rethink what we're doing and so on. This is what I like most about my work. If we can say, okay, we're putting all those perspectives together and everybody wants to do that and everybody steps back a bit. Yeah, but in the end, the result is great. And I think this is what we have here. For everyone, this might really become a win-win-win situation for everyone, for Merck, for you guys as the founders, but also for the investors. And in the end, obviously also for the customers that get great products that are super helpful, healthy, that are super good in the end at a price that they can afford. And if we can achieve that vision, that is what I really like about my job, to be honest. Getting in touch with technology like that and growing it with amazing people.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so excited to see the technology that we've built going to make an impact, in real time. And this is super exciting. And it kind of took all three of you kind of working together to find that proof point or that starting point in the pasta area, so that we can really start to commercialize and scale the technology. I think what's interesting to me is there's been a lot of talk about the cultured meat market and kind of the economics, but this is a way that the technology can enable the sort of early adoption of cell-based food into the market, starting with pasta. But then, of course, we know where we want to go and beyond. And I can't think of a better way to kind of externalize and get started. I guess the question I would have for both of you, now kind of turning it back to you, is did you ever think that would be our starting point? That pasta would be the one that goes first?
Yeah, and maybe I can start there. I think cultured meat was always the aspiration, but I think one of the great things about getting to work with everyone in the industry, the startups, the big food companies that are making investments and keeping their eye on the industry, the leading academics, even the regulatory authorities, and just seeing how everything developed in real time. That allowed us to just constantly learn and iterate and figure out, okay, what is our potential play, right? And I think now, more than ever, is the best time to actually be building the enabling tools and technologies. Because as the industry corrects, comes back, gains more traction, we're going to be waiting there with the tool, right? And that's what EdiMembre is all about. And I think that, the opportunity to work with investors and just having these conversations, right? And understanding, hey, look, we like cultured meat. We think it's going to happen. We believe in it. But how can you advance the technology, have a near-term commercial proof point, and start gaining traction? And high protein plant-based pasta is the answer for that. So it's a different alternative protein solution that we can be bringing to market.
Yeah, I'd come from the tech side, obviously. In development, so we can tune these structures. We can really tune the mouthfeel. And of course, meat has this more kind of resistance to the bite, and where pasta would be a bit less, a bit softer. And in this tuning process, as we explore these process windows, we're like, oh, wow, this actually tastes like a pasta. Or maybe this is maybe a good idea. It's a lower barrier to entry, and it tastes really good. So, and then we're pleasantly surprised to look at the pasta industry, the competitive landscape, and see that other high protein pastas are achieving at most something around 40% protein, where our technology is coming in above 80%. So this is has the opportunity to really disrupt the pasta industry too. So for us, it was, I guess, a little bit of serendipity mixed in there. And
I mean, it's a beautiful example why spinning out something like that is so important, because the speed you can gain now in the new company to adopt this kind of feedback you get from the market, as you said, like the technology of them. And like, this is like the management, this is the strategy, this is the narrative we have in the company, right? And when we get that and we see it's doable and we get access to the market and we get the feedback, we can really like switch into that direction and make a beautiful story out of it. And this is why it's so important to get this freedom to operate as soon as we get into the stage where we say, okay, we really want to address the market. And then I think that's why it's the right strategy for technologies like that to spin out, to go into market, to also really interact also on a capital level with the people from the industry, to do that, because then you're fast enough to adopt that.
And that is really, I think, the realization we came to about a year ago. We had a review and we said, we're not the right ones to take this out to the market. We just don't know enough. It's not kind of core to the Merck kind of business, portfolio. But we have this technology that we've created. We think it has real societal impact. We want to make sure that it, really gets out there and can grow and sort of enable the industry to thrive. So I'm super happy to see the connection and, to be quite honest, the speed that you've moved, because that's the other key. Sometimes you have to meet the market opportunity when it's there, right? And if you go too slow, you can miss that window.
Absolutely. And I mean, that doesn't happen too often with technology developed in a corporate R&D environment. So, because what's connected with that decision that you mentioned is really stepping back as Merck, right? So that's a hard thing to do for a large organization that invested a lot of money into the point of coming here, right? So, and that's keeping that in mind. It's not so easy to say, hey, okay, we're not the best home for this technology. It needs to thrive somewhere else. And then stepping back, saying, okay, our role is now differently. We're giving it to the guys that actually invented it, which is also hard. Like, they're moving out of the company and taking something that it feels like letting a kid go.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do have that feeling a little bit.
Yeah, and that's why honestly, and I've seen a lot of companies trying to do that, sometimes more successful, sometimes less successful. I can really say that no matter how hard the journey was sometimes, because we had, coming from a corporate environment, we had to switch like how budget plans are done. It's just done differently in a venture capital case. I mean, we had tremendous amount of information and data and so on, but we needed to frame it differently. Yeah. Taking those steps and realizing that, okay, if I say I'm not the right home, I really need to let it go. These are the two steps. The first step is like, okay-ish. People do it. The second step is the hard one, and we really took that. Yeah. And that's why we're here now. Yeah.
And I think between everything that you had said, Manny and Laura, I mean, the reality is the right ingredients are here on the table in front of us. We had the right starting point. We have some really strong IP that's coming with us. We have an incredibly strong team. And I think that we've worked with the right investors so far. And I think that there's no question that we're all passionate about what we're about to embark on, right? I can just already feel the energy working with you guys over the last, 5-6 months. And I'm really excited to get this venture going with you guys.
I can tell you, honestly, my son is very focused on the level of amount of protein he gets in his diet. So I'm very excited when this comes on the market.
We'll hire him.
Yes.
Yeah. Summer internship.
He would sign up. Yeah. Well, great. Thank you for being here, for kind of sharing your story. I am so excited to see what comes next, and really congratulations to both of
Thank
you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for the help. It's been really an incredible experience to kind of take this forward and sort of realize the aspiration that we had as part of our entrepreneurship program. So great start to the journey.
Thanks, Laura.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.